Welcome to Stories with Steve, a podcast on the Central Buna Podcast Network. Every Thursday in 5 minutes or less, we'll lift you up with stories of how God works behind the scenes in our lives. Romans 8:28 tells us that God works all things together for the good of those who are called according to his purpose. Now with an encouraging story, here's Steve.
You know, growing up, there's so many places that I wanted to visit, and one of the places I always wanted to visit was the White House. I just thought, how cool would that be to go to the White House where all the presidents lived? And so when I finally got the chance to go there for the first time, of course, you're in awe. You go by all the monuments, but I was walking down and I was trying to get to the Capitol. Actually, it was the National Day of Prayer, and I was walking and the guy says, well, it's farther down, but the White House is just down the street. So I was just walking down the street. All of a sudden, there it is, just standing out the White House. And so I walked up to the gate. Back then, you could walk up to the gate of the White House. Now I think they've closed it off. They've actually closed off Pennsylvania Avenue there in front of the White House because of some incidents that have happened. And so I'm sitting there and just totally in awe that I can't believe I'm right here right now. And the beautiful lawn there, the greenest grass I've ever seen, they really take care of that. And just looking around, it's funny, like you see on TV, you see these reporters standing out there in front of the White House. They look like they're all alone, but then there'll be another one under a tree in there. And I thought, man, is something going on? Is there a war? And the guy says, oh, no, that's that way every day here. Interesting. But anyways, I'm taking pictures. One of my those old disposable cameras, if you remember those. This guy comes walking out of the gate there, and I'm thinking, man, that guy looks just like Kenny Rogers. And the closer he gets, I go, wait, that is Kenny Rogers. And so he got closer, and so I shook his hand, and he smiled, and I took a picture of him real briefly. And I could tell he was in a hurry, so I was very respectful. He was carrying one of those big, if you remember what cell phones were, mobile phones when they first came out, those big, huge phones. So I think he was waiting for his driver to pick him up. But interesting thing is, people noticed him at that point. They said, hey, Kenny, can we have your autograph? And, and I thought about, these people, what their life must be like. Sometimes they can't go anywhere in public without people doing it. And he would say, no, I can't sign autographs, but I'll shake your hand. So he was nice, but sometimes, you got to know when to hold them and when to fold them and when to walk away and when to run. I had to add that in. So, but anyway, just standing there on the outside, I was just thinking about how cool it would be to step inside and maybe in the Oval Office and meet the President of the United States. But then I thought about it. You know what? Every single day, I have the opportunity to talk to the King of the universe. Every single morning, I get an opportunity to just go to him every single moment of every day. I can just pause and pray and enter into his presence. And it's great to admire people, but in this culture, we tend to worship celebrities, entertainers, and sometimes even politicians. But we have to remember who is the absolute king and who our allegiance should be. So just curious, what's your thoughts on that? I'd love to know. Remember, you've got a story to tell.